What's up, ambitious fam? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Dominique Galloway, and I finished my first year of medical school about 3 weeks ago. It is currently June 18th, and I finished like May 27th. So wow, I am very happy about that. I'm on my summer break. I have about 2 months off. I'm doing research. I'm doing a couple of other things, but very happy to not be like stressfully studying every day for 2 months. So yeah, but this video is about my, how I did throughout my first year of medical school. I'll be being super transparent with you all. I'm going to share every single score I have throughout my year and just reflect on it as well and just break it all down for you guys. So that's what this video is dedicated to. So if you're interested, definitely keep watching. Let's go. Okay, so you guys, I am on my Zoom account. I'm literally recording because I feel like this was the easiest way for me to just share my screen and show you guys what it's like. So we'll start with the beginning of the year. I literally have this file with my MS1 scores, every single one of my scores that were graded throughout the year. So we have our first exam, guys. Also, let me start by saying a lot of schools have converted to a pass-fail system, which is what we have. But in addition to our pass-fail system, we also have like this quintile ranking just to show your ranking throughout your entire class. And that's based on your scores and just like, I guess they just calculate where you fall in your class. And I think it's like top one, and there's two, the second ranking, third, fourth, and fifth ranking. So I don't know what that is. I think we find out next year, maybe in the end of December, but I'm still going to show you guys my entire, all my scores, and then also our pass fail. You have to have 70% in a course in order to pass the course. So 70% is the minimum. So yeah, let's start now. Let's go straight into this. Our first exam was called Medicine and Society. Medicine and Society was like literally that first week of school. We literally had our white coat ceremony right after this, and it was an open book exam, our only open book exam. But yeah, let me show you guys. It was an exam that everybody was stressed about, but clearly it was fine. The average score was a 95, 52 questions, and I got a 96.15 on it. There was like stats in it, societal issues in it. It talks about racism in medicine, health behavior, Western New York, epidemiology. Yeah, so it was it was simple, like straightforward because it was open book, I was extremely nervous about it. Pretty much everyone was, but as you can see, it went totally fine. So next one. So fundamentals. So this is our first real exam. So this was fundamentals 1. I personally can't remember exactly what it was about. Okay, we had kinetics, we had evolution, enzymes. Yeah, I'm not gonna show you guys every single time, everything, because that's gonna take a lot of time, but average score was at 82.27. My score was at 87.5, and there was 40 questions. So that one fine. Okay, histo quiz 1. I ended up getting a 90% on this. So within our anatomy course, we have block 1, block 2, and block 3. And we also had histology quizzes throughout all the blocks. So this was our first histo quiz. Yeah, I got a 90, 95.19 was the average, and then there's 10 questions. Okay. Our second histo quiz, I got a 90, average score was 88.97, 10 questions. This one was on blood. Our Fundo 1, exam 2, so this was our fundamentals course. Excuse me. So I got an 87.5 on this. 87.15 was the average score, 40 questions for this. This was, okay, let's see, genetics, membranes, nucleic acids. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. So that one fine. Anatomy block. So guys, our anatomy exams, let me just give you a breakdown on it. So with anatomy, there's 2 sections of the exam. So there's the practical exam, and then there's the theory exam. Practical is when you go into the laboratory and there's cadavers all around, and we're literally lined up, and we have a minute at each question at each cadaver. You have a minute to answer the question, put it into your system computer, and then you go into like a minute break in between cadavers, and then you go to the next cadaver after that, and you have a minute there as well. So it's a minute at each cadaver and a minute break in between. 50 questions for both the practical and the theory. The theory was all written, so it's multiple choice completely, like you're sitting down, you're just answering questions like our other exams. So practical, guys, I ended up getting a 90. You can't see the exact score here, but there's 50 questions, and I ended up getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wrong. So I ended up getting 45 out of 50, which is a 90% on this first anatomy exam. I was very happy about this. This was only at one half of the exam though, so we had theory immediately after. So they split up the class where you take practical first or theory first, and then you take the second portion right after. So this was 50 questions. And then the next 50 questions was the theory exam. I ended up getting an 80 on that. So yeah, I got a 44 out of 50. Apparently they didn't show our average scores for these two exams. Not sure why, but yeah. Okay. Also, I do want to say that I literally did this entire video like 10 minutes before this, and I realized after like 30 minutes of recording and after finishing the entire thing, I realized none of my scores popped up on the video. So I don't know what happened with the screen sharing, but it showed like the background, but not this part. So I was highly upset, you know, but it is what it is. I'm doing this over again for you guys. It is what it is. So on the histo quiz 3, which is about muscle, I ended up getting 100 on it. 95.19 was the average score, and there's 10 questions for that as well. Okay, Fundo 1, exam 3. So I ended up getting an 84 on this. There was 50 questions, and 86.37% was the average score. Yeah, I can't really remember what this was about. There was some genetics, I guess, but yeah, I was content. Okay, quiz 4 for histology. I ended up getting 100 on this. 94.46 was the average score. It was on nervous tissue. Our last exam for Fundo. Okay, so let me give you guys some context for this one. I was low-key freaking out before this exam, not because like there was really a reason to be freaking out, but guys, if you guys know from previous videos, I love Anki. Like that is the way I study. That's my entire study routine. I love Anki, so that's how I do pretty much how I study for every exam. And this exam, I remember 20 minutes before the exam, because I usually go over like my reviews that morning before the exam as well. Going over my reviews, and somehow I was like, you know what? I just randomly checked, and I realized 20 minutes before the exam that I never unlocked a deck. So I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, I never unlocked this one lecture. I have no idea what it's even on. I know nothing. And I was freaking out because it was 32 questions on this exam. So you get a few questions wrong, you could easily do poorly. So I usually walk with my friends to school, my friend Michelle, and we're literally like, I'm on the way of our walk. I'm like, oh my gosh, like tell me everything you know about this lecture. Like I need to know everything that's in your mind, just let it all out. And hopefully I can absorb some of it for this exam. So yeah, like I ended up getting an 81.25. I was still happy because I missed that entire lecture. I'm not sure, it might've been this one lecture that I got a 0% on. But yeah, I just know I definitely did not know any of that lecture. Yeah, so it's 32 questions, 87.42 was the average score, and that is that. And I never did that again, by the way. I never failed to unlock a lecture. Like I make sure every single time. So anatomy, so this is our block 2 exam. So our block 1 was mainly muscles, musculoskeletal, pretty much like muscles, bones. This block 2 was like, I think it was like thorax, GI, abdomen. I think, yeah, that's what block 2 was all about. I actually really enjoyed like going over the gastrointestinal system. I really enjoyed it. Like the abdomen is super cool to me, but I ended up getting a 94 on this. 50 questions, 88.22 was the average score. And this was the theory exam. So this was like the multiple choice. Now the practical exam, I ended up getting an 86 on, 50 questions, 88.23% was the average score. So yeah, I got 7 questions wrong on this one. Okay, so Fundo 2, so fundamentals 2, our exam 1. Oh yeah, I actually really enjoyed Fundo 2. So this was like metabolism, some biochem, nutrition, is actually very much highly tied with, not highly tied, but like a lot of the things that we saw also aligned with dermatology, and it showed how like literally dermatology just gives you like a window into your internal health, because there's just so many diseases that we went over, like metabolism, that just had like a skin presentation as well. So that was super cool. Definitely enjoyed this class. So there's 36 questions on this one, got an 88.89, 91.35% was the average. Okay, histo quiz 5. So got a 90 on this, 10 questions. 92.83 was the average. Histo quiz 6, this was on connective tissue, got 100, 97.12 was the average. Fundo 2 exam 200, 88.64% was the average. 48, oh wait, this is our, I thought this was a quiz. This is my first exam that I got 100 on, and I was very, very happy about this. So we got it on like Thanksgiving, I believe, or like the day before Thanksgiving, because we took the exam like that Tuesday before our break. And I remember getting my score, and I was so happy because it's my first 100, and I really did enjoy this course as well. So I got a 40, there was 48 questions on this, and yeah, 88.64 was the average. Okay, so now we have our block 3 of anatomy, which was like skull, brain, facial muscles, I think. Yeah. So yeah, all that, nerves. There was a lot about like neurology on this. So yeah, I ended up getting a 94 on it. This was a practical exam. So when we walk around the lab, and then 88.56% was the average, 50 questions again. Okay, the theory portion, you guys. So I got a 90 on, and yeah, I was very happy about that. There was 50 questions for this, and 83.78% was the average. Okay, so I'm gonna take a sip of water. I am thirsty. Okay, so CPM fall final. So this was CPM, guys, is clinical practice of medicine, and I went over this in other videos, but it's basically us learning how to be a doctor, how to speak to patients, how to take vitals, physicals, all that. So we also have a lot of lectures about just different like fields in medicine, and what else, like just different topics about what we should know about society and medicine as well. So excuse me. So this is our fall final. We only have one exam in CPM each semester. And then we have like homeworks as well, but it's like quizzes, but you literally can use all of your books and notes. So this was a very simple course. Like it's definitely important, very important, because we need to know these things to, you know, transition into our third year and do rotations and of course become a physician. But it's not like something that takes a lot of effort in studying. Like I feel like everyone kind of studied 2 days before this exam, or maybe the week of for the final. Or some people might have just like studied throughout the entire time. But for me, I studied like right before, like 3 days beforehand, got a 90, 91.87% was the average, and there was 60 questions on this. Okay, so Fundo 2 exam 3, this was the last exam of this course. So I ended up getting a 92%, 50 questions, and 92.92 was the average scored. Histo quiz. Okay, so these were like our last finals of the first semester. So now we're in the second semester, you guys. So immunology is what we started out with, and we had our first histo quiz, January 5th, I guess. And I got a 90 on this quiz, 92.79% was the average. It was 10 questions. So went fine. Immuno Exam. So this is our first exam of the second semester. Ended up getting a 92.5%, 80 questions. So this is our first time like having an exam with this many questions. Like the first semester, most of our exams were like 50 and below. I think there was like 1 or 2 that might've been more than that, but all 50 and below, like that was what we were used to. I think we had 2 hours to do 50 questions. And in this semester, I think we had the same exact hours, 2 hours to have like double the amount of questions. So we had 80 questions on this exam. But it ended up going fine. This was Immunology Micro was our next exam. So this is all in one course. It was called the Host Defenses and Hematology course. So we had Immuno, Micro, and then Heme. So I got an 89.01% on the micro portion, and there were 91 questions for this one. And 86.84% was the average. Sketchy Micro was life for this. Like, I honestly, to be real with y'all, I don't think I watched more than 2 lectures from this course. Like, all I did was Sketchy Micro. I didn't do anything else. Like, I think I did the Anki cards that were correlated with the lectures because we had like pre-made decks, but lectures, I didn't watch like more than 2. I quickly realized that Sketchy Micro was going to cover everything. So why am I watching it over again? And Sketchy Micro allows you to just like learn it in a way more visual way. And that helps me a lot. So that is what I did. I got an 89 on it. I was happy about that, above the average. So yeah, histo quiz. Okay, so I ended up getting a 90 on this. 93.4% was the average score, 10 questions. So this was bone marrow. Yeah, okay, so our last heme exam, this was the last exam from this course. I ended up getting a 90 on it. 87.31% was the average, and then there was 80 questions for this as well. So yeah, overall I did really pretty well on this course. Oh shoot, so let me give you guys a breakdown now. So GI, this is our next course after that, and man, was GI interesting. This was the course that really kind of knocked me down. I ended up doing fine on the quizzes. I pretty much always do. On the histo quiz, I got an 80, 71.56% was the average. Once again, I got like a 100, 89.17% was the average. But y'all, let's go to the GI exam. Let me show y'all what I got. Okay, so I got a 77.33%. This was the first exam that I got lower than 80s, and it definitely was, it was very disappointing for me. I was very upset. It really took some of my confidence away. I was highly anxious after this exam, like super nervous, stressed, like this was March too, and this is my birthday month. So I was like, when I got this exam score back, I was appalled. And I just wasn't really sure where I went wrong. It was really the exam questions, because it's not like I don't like GI. Like, I really do enjoy that system. I enjoyed the course overall, but the exam questions, just, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't understand it, to be point blank. But I did realize though, this course, I feel like was the first course that was very heavily clinically based. So a lot of it was like really trying to figure out, like, you have a scenario that happened, you have a patient, and what do you think it is? Like, you got to give a provincial diagnosis, you got to figure out what med you're going to give. And I feel like there was just so many different like alternatives in my head that I could choose, but you got to really choose, like, which one is it? Like, out of these different things that's going on with the patient, which one is it? And obviously that's important. Like, we're going to be doctors, but I feel like this was the first exam that really was like heavily that. So I was just trying to get, learn and figure it out. So yeah, I ended up getting a 77. Now I look back at it, I'm not fazed by it, but during that time period, I was going through it. I don't think I posted a YouTube video for that entire month. I think all of March, I even explained that in another video. It was, no. So yeah, got that. Got a 90 on this quiz. For GI, 87.97% was the average. So yeah, for my second exam for GI, I was even more stressed because I was like, like I said, you have to have a 70% to pass a course. I got a 77, and I just was extremely nervous for the second exam. Like, I was like, what if this goes even worse? Like, what if I do very bad on this second exam? What if I fail this course, Ended up being fine. I got a 80.95, but still below the average, still trying to figure it out. But I was content, I just wanted to get past this course, still trying to figure out those questions and how they were asking questions. It was just very different for me. But yeah, so GI was definitely not the best for me. It was like a low. It was a period where I really was like crying a lot, was doubting myself a lot, but I got through it. And I ended up we had a spring break right after this course, which is very much needed because I just wasn't doing well at all. So we took that exam on that Friday, and then we had a week off for spring break, and I came home and I got proposed to on that Sunday. So I got engaged that Sunday. Tyler knew what he was doing because, man, was I stressed that week before, and he just completely changed my mood as soon as I came home, man. That was a great week. So My mood definitely got a lot better that week, you know, just to be with family, friends. But, you know, I had to come back. I had to come back a week later and go into renal. So before renal, y'all, I remember hearing so many things about it from other like students at like on YouTube, or just even students at my school. Like they would talk about renal like that was the worst course ever to be known. Like no one does great in this course. Like that's how I felt. Like, so especially going from GI into it, I was like, oh my gosh, if I did that in GI, like renal's about to be even 10 times worse than this. So I was very scared coming into renal, which is why I was like, I needed this break in between to just like relax, rest, regroup myself. So came into renal, histo quiz. I honestly never worry about that. I got a 69.17% was the average. So yeah, but then the renal exam one, I ended up getting 84.21% and average was 82.55%. There was 57 questions. I was, you know, definitely pleasantly surprised about it, you know, being above the average, and definitely gave me a lot, you know, a little more confidence again, because, you know, I can handle this. And I actually enjoyed renal, to be honest. So yeah, I ended up getting that. And then our final, I ended up getting a 90.14%. It was 71 questions and the average was at 85.5. So yeah, renal went fine. And then after that, guys, we had our last course of our first year of medical school. Oh my gosh, and it was MSK, musculoskeletal, and derm in one. So it was 3 weeks for this course. We had one final and a couple quizzes, and it went very well overall. Like, I love derm, you guys already know this, and also I'm an SM certified personal trainer. I love to work out. I'm getting back into my strength training routine. So it's just been nice to get back in the gym, to weightlift again. But also I love derm. So you guys already know, like, this course was the course for me. I was happy to get into it and just finally learn more about dermatology. So this first quiz ended up getting 100. 84.64% was the average. So guys, this second quiz on muscles, it actually wasn't even about muscles. It was about like different diseases of the muscle. And I personally had no idea I just got it all wrong. I was studying the wrong material for this muscle quiz. So I ended up not doing well. First of all, it's 5 questions for these quizzes, and it really doesn't have a big percentage in our score, in our grade at all. But ended up getting a 60. That was my first poor like quiz score, I think. Yeah, so 76.13% was the average. It's fine though. It really did not have a big impact at all, but I was still kind of like, really? I just studied the wrong thing. If I knew what it was on, I would have been fine. But it really doesn't matter. That's besides the point. So the next one, guys, was the spring final for CPM. So we had one final for this as well. I ended up getting a 95.71% and 93.69 was the average. It was 70 questions. So yeah. So our histo quiz for the skin, 100. You know, I just love the skin. Like, look at mine. I'm glowing right now, y'all. Like, I was getting hundreds on these derm quizzes, man. Like, okay, so 89.29% was the average, and then 10 questions. Histo quiz, muscle, bone. Got 100 on this as well. 84.12% was the average. The bone quiz, got 100 on this as well. 82.12% was the average. And then this ortho quiz, I should have got a 90. Like, it was 5 questions, but one of the questions, it was very like skeptical. And I talked to the professor afterwards because it was just like, they were trying to trick us, but it is what it is. I got an 80 on it. 83.35% was the average. So yeah. And then our last exam of our first year, I got a 90 for MSK and derm. It was 90 questions as well. And it was at 86.61% for the average. So y'all, I went through all of my scores and pleasantly happy about it. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, I was very happy about how the year went for sure. You know, like, of course, there was definitely lows. I talked about that at times where I was very stressful. But coming into medical school, I talked about this in my first semester, expectations versus reality. Like, I was coming into it very nervous, very doubtful, very insecure, not feeling like I was confident enough. Felt like, you know, everybody was about to be a lot smarter than me. You know, I was going to be feeling stupid this entire time. And, you know, of course, there's moments where you're gonna feel like that. But overall, like, I really felt like I handled the material very well. I was able to implement a study routine that worked for me like right away, and I kept with it. And that's Anki. I will literally post a video. Probably my next video will be about my study routine and what I use and what I did to study in medical school and study for exams, because I really felt like my routine worked, not only just to actually do well on exams, but to also have a life outside of school. And I feel like that was what was most important for me. And I feel like Anki allows me to do that. So I will explain more of that in another video. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I also felt like overall, I just felt like I managed my time properly. I balanced my life, was able to, you know, keep up with YouTube, keep up with content creation for social media, keep up with my passions, keep up with my relationships. And like, that was super important for me. And I felt like God allowed me to have peace, to have joy, to be able to just really get through this efficiently and, you know, do well as well and succeed throughout it. And I'm just very extremely thankful for that, thankful to God for that. So yeah, that is my video. That is my scores, my breakdown for this entire school year. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're coming into medical school, definitely figure things out beforehand, like what you feel like you want to use to study, like what's going to be your study routine. I highly recommend doing that before entering so that you're not scrambling to figure that out once you start. Like, I made sure to just look up different YouTube videos and like what people were doing, which I will post probably next week. So stay on the lookout for that. But figuring out like what people are doing in medical school. So how are they succeeding on their exams? How are they doing well? So that I have an idea. And then if you're pre-med, you know, definitely making sure that you are managing your time properly in pre-med. Like, learn these habits beforehand so that when you get into medical school, you're not all about just school, because that will break you down. That is like not sustainable, you know? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And I will definitely see you guys in the next video. Stay on the lookout. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, comment, give me suggestions, because I'm going to be posting a lot of content this summer on commonly asked questions. So ask me some questions in the comments because I will answer them all, I promise. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.